Yo, what is up guys? It is Bumfries, back with episode 103 of our Reddit series. This one's going to be a little bit more entitled parents, and I know you're going to love this one. This week I'm going to try to upload every single day, and I feel like you guys deserve more frequent uploads than what I'm giving you, so make sure to keep an eye out for that, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Otherwise though, all you need to do is sit back, relax, and get annoyed at some entitled parents. So my significant other and I live in a high-rise in downtown Chicago. The way our building is set up is only the corner units get balconies and the rest just have windows that you can open. These balconies are 100% private and part of your unit. I pay for this and it's great to be able to go outside and not have another person sitting there just to the left of me. Our neighbours, who were an elderly couple, moved out in April and the unit has been brought by a family of 3. Their kid is about 3 and so far they've been pretty quiet, or at least we can't hear her through the walls. Anyway, last night I was coming in from the basement storage area with my dog and our small grill because it's finally warm enough to cook outside and enjoy it. The mum was in the hall and asked me where I was going with the grill as it was a fire hazard inside and I mentioned that it was for the balcony. Well, this was when she instantly begins her tirade about not being able to get any of the public balconies on the floor, and she had been trying all of the corner doors and were all locked, mine included. Now, mind you, this is maybe the 3rd time I've met this woman, as she's only lived here for about 2 months now, and she's been trying to get into our apartment to use the balcony. Our door is always locked. It's locked the second one of us gets home, and it stays that way. I tell her that the only public balcony type space is the roof deck, and she yells at me. She tells me that her contract says she has a balcony that she can use, and demands to let her use mine. I just laughed, and at this point my neighbour across the hall was coming home. He has another one of the 4 balconies and stops to say hi amidst her yelling at me. She asks him who he is, and he tells her that he is her other neighbour across from me, and then she starts the same crap with him. We both explain to her that no, she has no such thing in her contract or lease, and if she had an issue, to go and speak with the door staff and ask them or go to management. She got mad and went inside at that point, and my across the hall neighbour and I just laughed about it and talked about the new Zelda game that is coming out. The irony of them talking about the new Zelda game at the end of this story is just perfect because these types of stories are no different to the your Nintendo Switch is now mine or the your property is now mine entitled parents, and honestly, what better story can you ask for when it comes to entitled parents? How can you not love a parent who thinks they're entitled to your personal belongings for absolutely no reason other than the fact that they just want it? They sound like some of the best people in the world, and honestly, I would love to meet them. I'm sure you guys know that is absolute sarcasm, but just if you don't, I hope it doesn't come back and bite me in the ass. Here where I live, the MG car brand has a sort of stigma. Well, it's more like the owners rather than the cars themselves. Obviously that doesn't apply to everyone, but a lot of MG owners here are almost like a cult. They believe that their relatively cheap cars are the best, criticize other Asian cars, and compare their own to Mercedes, BMW, etc. Non-MG owners can only shake their heads and laugh. There is even a meme group going on about this, where sometimes people who see an MG car on the street would sarcastically shout, "How many millions did it cost?" So this incident happened last month. A woman accidentally left her keys in her MG crossover with her 1-year-old daughter inside and the doors locked. This was in the daytime, so it was hot. People were helping put rags on the windows to shield the kid from the sun, and they were telling the entitled mum to just let them smash the windows to open the door. She declined because she didn't want to damage her oh so expensive $23,000 car. They said they could all help chip in for the repair costs, but she flat out declined. People were baffled. There were even cops there. A lady who was the wife of a locksmith tried to help. She called her husband and he told her how to jimmy the car. She tried using a wire but wasn't successful. The entitled mum called the MG dealer and had them eventually unlock the door remotely. The kid was probably in the car for half an hour. Instead of thanking people for helping, she ended up trying to sue the lady for damaging her car, even though it was only scratches. People posted this online, and the story spread and made it on the news and TV. A few weeks later, a similar but quite opposite incident happened, this time involving a BMW. The mother told the people helping to just smash the window, so they did. She got her kid out and thanked everyone, saying that her child was obviously more important than her $75,000 BMW. I think the first thing you have to question is what the hell was this mother even doing leaving the kid in the car in the first place on such a hot day? You don't have to search very far to find some pretty awful stories about kids dying in cars or kids being severely brain damaged from being in hot cars all day. I mean heck, even half an hour is long enough to leave a kid pretty severely damaged. Honestly, don't know how bad of a parent or how much of an entitled parent you have to be to not just get your kid out of that damn car by any means necessary. I don't know, sometimes entitled parents stoop to a new low, and I reckon this is one of them. I just shared a story of my own, and this one isn't mine, but this is just too good not to share. I go to a vet that deals with all types of animals, but is specialized in reptiles. I have young corn snakes. The assistant told me about an encounter that she had with an entitled mum and an entitled kid from a few days ago. She was still laughing when she told me. The entitled mum and the entitled kid went into the vet's waiting room, where the assistant has a desk with a bunny. They were too early for their appointment, so they had to wait. While they waited, a man walked in with a closed box. The entitled kid, trying to peek in, opened up the box. But the man said that the animal had pain in his eyes and that the light would hurt him, so that the box had to stay closed. The entitled kid wasn't happy about that and cried to the entitled mum that he wanted to see the puppy. Spoiler, it was not a puppy. The entitled mum immediately got bitchy and commanded the man to open the box, saying, "A few seconds won't hurt it, my kid can see the puppy." The man said no, but the entitled mum just kept talking in circles and refused to give up. She also kept getting louder and more annoying, while the entitled kid was still crying and also getting louder. The assistant was considering intervening when the man solved it for her. Apparently the man got so fed up with the constant badgering that he just said, "Fine, whatever, open it, you get 10 seconds. So the entitled mum opened the box, saw the beautiful, fully grown python in it, and let out a deafening scream. It was so loud that the vet came running out of the examination room to see what the hell was happening. The entitled mum had retreated to a corner of the waiting room with the entitled kid pressed against the wall behind her, screaming about how she, the entitled kid and their bunny could have been killed, and that the man shouldn't be allowed to have his pet. The man in the meantime had closed the box and was laughing his ass off, and the assistant was having a hard time not laughing along with him. She managed to keep a straight face and explained to the vet what happened. The vet just sighed. The entitled mum demanded that the man and his monster be kicked out. The vet, however, said no. The entitled mum, seeing she wasn't getting any support, grabbed her entitled kid and bunny and huffed/ran out the door, vowing to never come back. In my opinion at least, good riddance. You know, I say this a lot, but it's nice to see an entitled parent get a little bit of instant karma, especially when it comes for their own badgering or pestering or whatever you want to call it, and whoever's at the receiving end just gives in, and the entitled parent, like I said, gets a little bit of instant karma, gets what they deserve. You want to push and push and push? Well, sometimes you get what you ask for, but it's not always exactly what you expect. So a few need to know details. It was effing hot. It was about 35 degrees Celsius, but it felt like 44. These will be important details for later. So I was standing in line at the checkout at my local supermarket. I think in total, I had about 10 items, some frozen goods, drinks, and snacks. I usually tend to take out one of the buds of my phone, so in case somebody addresses me, I would hear it. At this time, the woman at the cash register was taking care of the payment of one of her clients, and there was just one person in front of me. And then suddenly, she appeared. The entitled mum in this story. Now, overall, she didn't look it. She didn't even give off a mean vibe or anything. Even the way she started talking to me was overall nice and polite. At least, at first. She says to me, "Excuse me, do you mind if I skip ahead? I'm in a bit of a hurry." Now in general, if somebody politely asks me this and I don't have any urgent business of my own, I usually don't mind. This time, however, I didn't have that many groceries, so her delay would be at most a few minutes while she was pushing a fully loaded shopping cart in front of her. So if I would have let her skip, I'd probably still be in the store for another 10 or 20 minutes. So I politely decline and I tell her that I'll hurry as much as I can. Of course, this was a great offense. I had not given this woman her entitlement, and she blew up instantly. She was yelling and screaming at me that she was in a hurry, and I'm not kidding here, and had to be home in time for her shows. Now at this time, I would like to point out that during this rant, she only said she had to be home in time for her shows, and that they were very important to her, and that there was nothing else making this urgent for her. This is important a little bit later. Now, while this woman was going off, the person at the cash register went to ignore mode and just started scanning my groceries, which I loaded into my bags while the entitled mum was going on about how I was garbage and how they should ban me from the store. Now, this should have been the end of it. Just turn around and go home and forget this happened. But then she said something that 1, made me want to almost kill her, and 2, made this a postable story. While I was walking away, just about to put the earplug back in, she yells, "If you pass by my car, tell my son he's the reason he has to wait another half an hour for me." Now, I'm not an extremely smart person, but in this moment, my brain made some connections really quickly. What I realized was 1, it was very hot outside. This woman had been in the store for a while, judging by the amount of groceries she had. 3, the entire parking lot of this store had almost no shade. And 4, it was about 2 PM, so the sun was just over its peak. I rush outside and start running past cars, scanning them for kids inside. Thankfully, one of the first cars I pass had a small child laying in the back seat. This kid is as pale as a ghost, sweating like crazy, and it looked like he was only half conscious. I run back inside, and to my utter astonishment, this woman is having a conversation with the cashier while she's checking out her groceries. I grab her by the shoulders, spin her around, and yell almost straight to her face that her kid is literally dying in her car. I told her that if she didn't do something about it right now, I was going to smash in her windows and call the cops. At first, she looked at me in complete confusion. Probably never been spoken to like that before in her life. Then the realization of what I told her had sunk in, and she rushed outside. While she went outside, a man tapped me on the shoulder and asked what had happened. I explained the situation, actually leaving out the bit about the cash register, just saying that I saw the kid in the car and knew that this woman was probably the owner. He went outside, and when I came outside, the entitled mum suddenly rushed me and got in my face saying that I was the reason she was in the store for so long and her son's current condition was my fault. Before I could even respond, the man that approached me earlier speaks up. It turns out that this man was an off-duty cop and had been in the store for a while, and as such, he knew that the actual delay caused by me could not have caused this. He also said that he had already called for an ambulance for the kid and the cops for her. I don't know what happened to the entitled mum, but she completely crashed, just sat down on the pavement and started shaking her head, not saying much except the occasional sob or "not my fault." As for the ending, everything turned out okay for most parties. I stayed a while to give a statement to the cops and my contact info in case it went to court. The kid was okay afterwards, and since his mum got arrested, they called his dad or another male family member. I didn't ask which, but they accompanied him to the hospital. As for the entitled mum, I'm assuming she's going to have to stand trial for child endangerment, but I'm not sure if she'll get a fine or jail time. What is with these parents putting their children's lives in danger just so they can have a little bit more of a convenient shopping experience on ridiculously hot days? Honestly, I literally cannot imagine being a parent who thinks it's okay to leave your child in a car on a hot day in any circumstance. You have to be a special kind of stupid to think that's okay, and quite frankly, this entitled mum seems like she probably is. I hope she gets what she deserves and doesn't just get a slap on the wrist. Alright everyone, that is that for today's episode of Entitled Parents. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm just going to take a second to plug a couple of my social medias, including our Discord server. I do have a Twitter and an Instagram if you want to follow me on both of those. They are both at Bumfries, and feel free to send me a message and I'll do my best to respond. I also just want to take a second to say thank you so much for all the love lately. All of the comments, the likes, the subscribers, just the fact that you guys tune in and watch my videos every day, it really does make my day. Every single one of you is the backbone of this channel, and I really cannot express how much I appreciate that. Without you guys, this channel would be nothing, and I love making these videos for you guys, and I love the fact that you enjoy them. So on that note, I will wrap things up for today's episode of Entitled Parents. I just want to take a second again to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I'll see you all in the next episode of Entitled Parents. Bye.